Here we go.
Well, hello there. How is everyone? I hope you're all well. You amazing, beautiful, wonderful people. It's Thursday still. It's Thursday, and this is video 3 of 3. Have you seen them all? Have you seen them all? If not, go check them out. We are returning, for now, back to Jay Slater. Don't worry. I know not everybody loves the Jay Slater case, and there isn't a lot to talk about. But I did just want to put some things into context because we have been talking about it. Why have we been talking about it? Why is it important, the information that is coming out right now? And why do we really need to just step back and have a moment to consider everything? And is what is being said right now actually really important? First of all, I just want to address the trolls because the trolls love me. What can I say? They're like Velcro monkeys. That's what they are. Look, I want to just say, I don't give a monkey's butt crack what anybody thinks about me. I don't care. I don't care whether you like what I talk about. I don't care anything. I truly don't care. I truly don't care. The fact that you watch, you moan, you comment helps push the videos out into the algorithm, so thank you for that. And comparing me to other people around this case, look, you do you. You do you. If you feel that the best people to talk about this case and who you should listen to are people who wrap shit up in tinsel and feed it to you, and people who have been proven to fabricate stories in cases historically, then you're a fucking moron and shouldn't be on this channel anyway, because I don't like dealing with morons in real life, let alone on here as well. Do you know what I mean? So look, if you don't like me, you don't like the content, do us both a favour and fuck off. But anyway, with respect of the Jay Slater case, we have this situation which is Mark Williams Thomas right now, and he's basically come out. I'm not going to go over this article, just to, you know, just touch on very, very briefly what he's basically saying. He's basically saying that Jay Slater left the Airbnb for a specific reason. He left for a specific reason, and in doing so, he would then sadly lose his life. Now, I have been someone who has looked at everything. I've looked at everything, listened to everything. And as time progressed, and again, I've said this, as we let things kind of simmer away in that pot, bake in the old oven, we come back to it, and the vast majority of the information that was out there just didn't go anywhere. It just didn't have legs. And a lot of the information, it turned out, it'd been faked. It was fake. It was bullshit. And a lot of it, sadly, had come from the likes of Mark Williams Thomas, and he'd fed it to us, and we'd then fed it to the audience and spoken about it and given it credence, given it legs. Because some people, once they've been given an idea, it's very hard for them to then drop that idea. And look, that's on people who do that. Some people have the ability to look at things, mull them over, see where they go, find out that they're not going anywhere because it's bollocks, and then they'll detach from it and they can walk away. And that's what I did. I detached from a lot of the crap and managed to walk away from it. But my stance on the Jay Slater case always has been, and to this day is that I do believe that Jay Slater fell. I do believe that he fell. I don't think that he was placed there. I don't believe any of that. I believe that he fell. But I believe that there was aggravating factors involved in that fall. Now, aggravating factors could be anything from he left the Airbnb scared, which made him take a route that he wouldn't normally have taken because he was trying to hide where he was going. It could be that he was under the influence, or it could have been that he was followed and he was pushed. But I believe that where he was found, he ended up there either by falling or being pushed. But the important thing, why this information, what Mark Williams Thomas is alluding to, is so important, is because it's the only real thing that makes absolute sense. That's the reason why this is so important, and why it's so serious to consider whether he is indeed just talking shit, or he does genuinely know of some reason why potentially Jay Slater may have left the Airbnb scared. Now, we know that there was a rumour going around that Jay Slater was actually armed when he left the Airbnb. Again, I believe that came again from Mark Williams Thomas. I may be wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know. But we definitely know that there was this rumour. So when you factor in a guy who goes to an Airbnb with people who are relatively strangers to him, they're not, they're not best friends, they're not lifetime friends, they're not people who they all grew up together. There is a, how can I say, there's a distance between them in terms of friendology. There's a new word for you. And so he goes to, he's at this rave, and he's seemingly in a bit of a mess, and he makes a decision then to go to this Airbnb. So my thought process is, right, so let's consider that Jay Slater goes to the NRG festival. He's in a bit of a state. Maybe he's took some things that he shouldn't have done, and he's got himself in a bit of a mess that's, again, led him to make decisions that he wouldn't normally make, and that has led him to this Airbnb in the arse end of the back and beyond. He then starts to sober up, come round somewhat, and he realises that where he is isn't the best place for him to be. But then this situation then spurs off, doesn't it? Because this is either Jay Slater then thinks, I shouldn't be here. Why the fuck did I come here? I now need to get all the way back there. I don't want to hang about with these guys. I don't really like them. Maybe he knows something about them that he doesn't want to be associated with, so he decides to leave. And he then takes this route that inevitably leads to his death because he doesn't quite understand the terrain. And that's kind of best case scenario. That is best case scenario. But it is a scenario all the same that cannot be completely disregarded because it's plausible. I've listened to many people who live in this area who have spoken specifically about the terrain and the dangers of that terrain if you don't know what you're doing, especially if you're someone who feels that you can perhaps take shortcuts and cut across this bit, cut across that bit. It's going to go wrong. But the Mark Williams Thomas situation is so important because if it adds an element of Jay Slater being afraid, or there is an aggravating factor that is so far the thing that seems to elude us, and it could answer the question as to why Jay Slater did sadly wind up deceased. So this is important. I know it's not exciting in a sense that we're not finding out that Jay Slater was the love child of a drug baron who flew to the island and wanted to claim his son and took him aboard a boat that Jay Slater then didn't want to know his new drug lord father, so they got into an altercation, and this would result in one of his father's henchmen murdering Jay, and then they dumped him on a bit. I know it's not that exciting, is it? It's not that. It is just a situation where Jay Slater went to an Airbnb with people who he didn't like. Perhaps there was something going on and he was scared and wanted to get away from it, and he saw something that he shouldn't have seen perhaps, and it ended up with him making a series of fatal mistakes. Is boring in the grander scheme of things, but it answers the question, because there are questions. There's always been questions, but you can't just fill the void with shit for entertainment just because it makes you feel better. It scratches an itch that you've got. Do you know what I mean? And I'm sorry if, we looked at every single thing and then came to a conclusion at the end of it that the vast majority of the stuff that's been spoken about around this case is complete and utter bullshit. But I'm not one of these people who will keep feeding you shit and telling you that it's cake because you keep paying me to do so. You know, there comes a point where you have to make a stand and say, you know what? This is what it is. Yes, there's questions, but you're not going to find the answers looking over here, because all you're going to see over here is, yeah, you're going to be more interested listening to it, but it ain't going to lead you anywhere. It's not going to take you to the answer. So again, I ask the question, what are you in the Jay Slater case for, truly? What are you genuinely around this case for? What are you watching videos about this case for? And really dig deep and answer that question. Are you listening to this case? Are you listening to people talking about this case because you truly you are invested in the story of Jay Slater and what genuinely happened to him? Or are you just seeking entertainment and a community that shares that desire for that style of entertainment? Because there is a market for it, 100%, but you ain't going to fucking find it here. Because I have a genuine I'm invested in what happened to Jay. I want to know what happened to him. And no, I can't go down the route of some of the conspiracy theories, which I now know are conspiracy theories. And I know I say in the past that sometimes the difference between the truth and conspiracy theory is about 6 weeks. But in this instance, the vast majority of what we're listening to around the Jay Slater case is just utter shit. It is shit. We've got to the point where we've seen videos being played in reverse. We're seeing phone calls being pushed out from a year ago and made it look like they are pertinent to this story. And it is what it is. But this Mark Williams Thomas situation and this piece of information that he seems to be alluding to the fact that he has, this is important. And this is something that we as a community, if you are invested in this case and knowing what truly happened, we do need to hang on to it and force the people who claim to have this knowledge, force them into the light and say, look, you can't say shit like that, because that's the genuine missing piece here. That's the genuine missing piece. Stop chasing potato cam footage. Stop chasing fucking James Bond, fucking Tom Hilton stories where he's jumped on a fucking speedboat and come from Shagaloof over to fucking Tenerife to murder Jay because he once was involved in a group of people that fucking hit him over the head. Do you know what I mean? It's that you're not going to get anything there. But you could get something here. We could actually force someone to give some information that sheds some light that may actually lead somewhere. What do you want? Do you want the truth, or do you want entertaining? Let me know down below, and I'll see you all in the next one.